A win is a win is a win, and the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark go up against the Las Vegas Aces and last year's MVP, A'ja Wilson, and walk away with a W, 80-70. Sophie Cunningham has been hot to trot. Sophie Cunningham has been on fire.
What happens when the Indiana Fever lose their biggest star and still manage to dismantle A'ja Wilson's Las Vegas Aces? The answer completely changes how you see this team. While Caitlin Clark remained on the bench injured still, arguing with the officials, her teammates stepped up big time. Kelsey Mitchell exploded for 21 points when the team needed it most. And Sophie Cunningham just became the hottest player in the league. Literally, this wasn't just a win. It was a message that echoed through the entire WNBA. So, how did the Fever pull off such a dominant performance? And what exactly did Sophie do that made her go red hot? Comment Red Hot Sophie if you're hyped. Buckle up. This one's a statement for the ages.
Back in the W check.
Oh, that was a gut check win right there. Oh, nothing to check. Yes, Natasha Howard. That was a fun one. My gosh, and these jerseys are sweaty.
Your team just dropped back-to-back games to the Liberty. And your franchise star is sitting courtside in street clothes, nursing a groin injury? That's exactly where the Indiana Fever found themselves as they returned to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. On July 24th, the sting of those 2 straight losses still lingered. Everyone was asking the same thing. Who are the Fever without Caitlin Clark? No one had the answer. And until tip-off, the doubt surrounding this team felt suffocating. But what happened next would begin to answer that question in the loudest way possible.
Obviously, there's no timeline for Caitlin, but what has she been able to do this last week? Is it mostly just rehab recovery, or has she been able to do any kinds of practice?
Yeah, no, I mean, we haven't really practiced since the couple days before All-Star break. So mostly rehab, shooting, and she's been with our athletic training team, and we've been preparing everybody else.
The Fever's 12-12 record told only part of the story. Critics weren't just doubting their playoff hopes anymore, they were writing the team's obituary. Social media was relentless. Sports pundits called them pretenders the moment their superstar sensation went down. The narrative was brutal and direct. Without Clark, this team has nothing. Pressure mounted with each passing game. Every win mattered now. Their next opponent? A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, the reigning back-to-back champs who knew exactly how to strike when a team was vulnerable. The Aces arrived in Indianapolis with a 12-11 record, but carried themselves like the league's elite. They didn't fear the moment. They came ready to attack. And for the Fever, this wasn't just another game, it was a test of identity. A test they couldn't afford to fail, not with everything on the line and their doubters watching closely.
Steph, Caitlin presents a challenge in itself for any opponent, but when she doesn't play, how is your team different?
I think our ball moves differently. What we run is different. She has such gravity, and her ability, not just to be at the top of the scouting report, but her ability to make everybody better with the ball in her hands. So some of the things that we run are different when she's on the floor than when she's not. We run some more off-ball stuff, a lot less on-ball action.
Coach Stephanie White felt the pressure of this moment more than anyone. She understood this matchup would shape the narrative surrounding her team's identity. Were they actual contenders capable of taking down top-tier opponents? Or just a group that relied too heavily on their superstar to have a shot? White knew she needed to deliver the right message to her players, one that could cut through the self-doubt creeping in. Because this wasn't just about one game. It was about everything they stood for and whether they truly believed in themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief to know that there's nothing else going on and no more damage. Now it's just being patient with the process. You can't have 5-minute lapses against great teams. They make you pay, and they bury you in those moments. I think we've seen throughout the course of the season, where we've been really good for long stretches, and where we've weathered the ups and downs of a game, and we've got to be able to do that from a neutral mindset. We can't get into the playing conservative.
The Aces entered confident, borderline arrogant. You could see it in how they moved during warm-ups. A'ja Wilson and her Olympic teammates probably marked this one the second Clark's injury hit the news. They viewed it as the perfect time to expose what they believed all along, that the Fever were a one-woman act dressed as a team. Wilson herself had quietly wrestled with jealousy surrounding Clark for nearly 2 years. Now she had her moment to shine, to prove she deserved the MVP spotlight. This wasn't just another game for the Aces, it was their chance to reassert their dominance and remind everyone that rings mean more than media hype. But then the plot flipped. Unexpectedly, sometimes being completely written off is the best thing that can happen. The Fever took every ounce of doubt and weaponized it. They flipped their biggest perceived weakness into the source of their strength. And what happened after would jolt the entire WNBA and announce to the world, this team isn't done, not even close. Because real champions aren't molded when everything falls into place. They're forged in chaos when everything threatens to fall apart, and they rise from it stronger than ever.
Let's go! Let's go!
Okay, we answered runs today, y'all. We had one another's back today, y'all. In the moments where it seemed like they could have made a little bit of a comeback, we stopped that. Yeah, we sure did. Now we have to be able to continue to stack that, maintain that consistency right there. I'm so proud of you guys. So proud of you guys. That was a hard-fought win. You earned it. We got on 3, 1, 2, 3 together.
When your team's in need of a savior, it's often the quiet ones who rise. And Kelsey Mitchell was ready for her time. All season long, she'd taken heat for being inconsistent. Analysts claimed she vanished in key scoring moments, and the stats didn't do her any favors. One night, Mitchell would erupt for 20 points, and the next she'd go 3 for 15 when it really counted. That up and down pattern gave critics ammo, and fans began to question whether she could be relied on when everything was on the line. At the start of this matchup with the Aces, those criticisms felt completely fair. Mitchell missed her first few shots and looked out of sync. Every misfire added visible tension to her body language. The Cambridge Fieldhouse crowd grew uneasy. They sensed the Fever's offense unraveling without Caitlin Clark's playmaking presence. Each miss landed heavy on Mitchell's shoulders. The pressure intensified with every brick. Through 3 quarters, she had gone just 4 for 19. That kind of stat line usually gets a player benched in high-stakes games, but Stephanie White saw something different. Instead of pulling her, the coach made a decision that could define Mitchell's entire season.
Austin, handoff, Cunningham. Cunningham too strong. Mitchell able to save the day. And it's Mitchell going right to the rim. Beats the shot clock and lays it in. Mitchell to the rescue.
Sessions very disruptive, causing all kinds of havoc. Late shot clock situations. And then Kelsey
Mitchell over during a timeout and offered the message that changed everything. "Let it fly. It's going to go," she told her veteran guard. That simple sentence hit Mitchell right where she needed it most. White also reminded her to stay balanced on drives for clearer looks and smarter reads. Then something subtle but powerful happened. Her teammates stepped up around her. It wasn't the kind of help you see in the box score. They found her in better shooting spots. They set firmer screens to give her space. They made sure Mitchell had the room she needed to breathe, regroup, and rediscover her rhythm. It was a full team effort, built around restoring her confidence and trusting the work she had put in.
Thought about the 3. Cunningham feed inside. Boston spinning, turning, ducking, finding Mitchell, who splashes home a 3.
Then it finally clicked in the second half. Mitchell caught fire from every area of the court. Her quickness overwhelmed the Aces' defense, who couldn't keep up. She drove hard into the lane, finishing through heavy contact. She pulled up from mid-range jumpers that hit nothing but net. Suddenly, the same shots that missed earlier were falling with pure rhythm.
Really fun. Couple of former teammates. Played 2 years together.
clear out, take it.
Mitchell sizing up Lloyd. She will launch and bury a 3.
Get out of the way. Mitchell pulling the trigger from deep. Fever up 9.
The fourth quarter became Mitchell's personal stage as the game reached its most critical point. She poured in 9 massive points during the final 12 minutes. She nailed 4 out of 5 shots when everything was on the line. Alongside her scoring, Mitchell dished out 4 assists, tied for the most on the team. She wasn't just scoring, she was creating, taking over, and lifting everyone around her.
Got 2 really good offensive coaches over there on the sideline.
Mitchell finds a cutting Boston, who lays it in. From Mitchell here on this one.
So you don't want anybody to cut across the front of your face, but it's just a really good delivery.
Mitchell wrapped the game with 21 points, shutting down every critic who doubted her clutch gene. She backed up the mental toughness she had spoken about after the Liberty loss. Her performance showed the Fever had more than one star ready to lead. This wasn't about just filling the void left by Caitlin Clark. This was about Mitchell stepping into the leadership role this team had always hoped she'd embrace. When they needed her most, she didn't flinch.
Offense was not the issue for Indiana on Tuesday. They put up 84 points despite the absence of Caitlin Clark. Cunningham hit 5 threes, and it's her first tonight. Stay with Indiana.
So Sophie Cunningham doing a really good job of reading the stagger. You have options off that, and she's reading the
While most people were focused on who could replace Clark's scoring, Sophie Cunningham quietly turned into the most lethal shooter in the league. Heading into the Aces game, she was riding a blistering streak, hitting double digits in 6 straight contests. Her stats were becoming too loud to ignore. Cunningham was putting up 13.7 points and 4.7 rebounds per game, while knocking down 3.0 three-pointers a night. Her all-around consistency and pure shooting had turned her into one of the most impactful players in the WNBA.
Playing for Sophie Cunningham to start again tonight, or what's your...
Yes.
What is it about her, I guess, at the start of a game that you like having her in the lineup?
Another ball handler, another player who can create shots for her teammates, as well as stretch the floor. A really good defensive rebounder as well. We had at times really struggled from a defensive rebounding standpoint, so like that as well. And her energy.
The question wasn't about her shot anymore. Everyone already knew Cunningham had the stroke to drain threes. The real challenge was whether she could maintain her red-hot pace against elite squads like Asia Wilson's defending champs. The pressure was on now. Teams were designing defenses specifically to cool her off, but her stats stayed jaw-dropping. Cunningham had been hitting 58.1% from 3 over her last 6 outings. That made her the most accurate long-range shooter in the league for July, and these weren't empty buckets she was drilling. Momentum-changing shots when her team needed a spark. Her reputation wasn't being built on flash. It was being carved out with consistency and fire.
This run continues, but Cunningham able to put an end to it.
Cunningham rose to the occasion against the Aces when the spotlight was at its brightest. She knocked down 3 of her 4 three-point attempts. Her 15-point night wasn't just a stat-padding performance. Each bucket came with serious impact. They were dagger shots, perfectly timed blows that stopped Las Vegas from clawing back. Every time the Aces made a run, Cunningham responded with another silencer from deep. She wasn't just hot, she was devastatingly timely.
You had Melissa Smith on you. I would just clear it out if you're Mitchell. Just tell everybody to go to the other side of the floor.
Cunningham straight away delivers with a 3.
Or that.
Cunningham's value isn't just in her shooting. She rebounds, defends, and leads when the team needs her most. Coach Stephanie White inserted her into the starting lineup to maximize her intensity and two-way versatility. White applauded her ability to stretch defenses, clean the glass, and create plays. She called Cunningham a secondary ball handler and a shot creator. Now, analysts are seriously naming her the frontrunner for 6th Player of the Year, and frankly, who's even close? One analyst dubbed her a stone-cold assassin because of her clutch performance. Her steady production off the bench combined with momentum-shifting threes has made her more than just a spark. She's become a foundational piece in the Fever's evolving identity.
Vegas has done a nice job coming on the road, keeping Indiana Fever in check offensively, and Sophie Cunningham, you cannot lose.
Cunningham's evolution from role player to real threat has given the Fever a scoring weapon no one expected. She's gone from a supporting role to one of the league's most feared shooters. Some fans now say the doubters owe Sophie Cunningham an apology. Her reliability and killer instinct have become the perfect counterpart to this team's growing title ambitions. When Caitlin Clark returns from her injury, she rejoins a group that's already developed another scorer who shifts momentum. Cunningham has proven she belongs on the biggest basketball stages. And then came the moment, 35 seconds left, the game still up for grabs. Ari McDonald stepped into the spotlight with a shot that would define this victory. Indiana clung to a fragile 5-point lead, but that's never safe against a squad like Las Vegas. The Aces had chipped away all fourth quarter and were still in striking distance. With just one stop and a clean look, they had a real chance to steal this game, but the Fever had one more answer left. McDonald had been quiet, but when the team needed one last knockout punch, she was the one to rise. And what followed would drop every jaw in the arena. McDonald received the pass at the top of the arc as A'ja Wilson's Aces scrambled for one final stand to keep their playoff hopes alive. The pressure was massive. Miss and give the reigning champs a chance to storm back. Make it and seal the deal. McDonald didn't flinch. She rose up like someone who was built for these moments. That step-back three was fearless, pure poise under fire. She launched knowing exactly what was at stake for her team's season, and the ball swished through like destiny. The crowd erupted as the Fever's lead extended. The Aces, just like that, were done. McDonald's shot was more than just a bucket hit. It was the backbreaker that shattered Las Vegas' comeback dreams.
Vegas got it locked in right here. One-on-one.
Donald pulls up and hits a three. But Lloyd got open on the other end.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse erupted into pure chaos. Fans knew they had just witnessed something unforgettable. McDonald was perfect from downtown 3 for 3, from deep on the night. Her overall stat line was solid, 9 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals in 22 minutes. But it was that single fourth-quarter triple, her only shot in the period, that sealed her legacy. Talk about clutch. And behind her heroics was Natasha Howard, the engine all game long with 18 points and 13 rebounds. She added 3 steals and dominated on both ends. After the game, she explained their mindset. Our defense gets our offense going. When our defense is right, everything flows. McDonald's shot may have closed the door, but Howard had built the foundation. Together, their performances created one of the most complete wins Indiana has produced all year.
First of all, it started off with our defense. Our defense to get our offense going, and that's how we maintain games like that. We don't rely on our offense a lot. We rely on our defense to get when our defense is going, our offense is going. So we limited the Vegas to one shot, and that's how we got open shots for the shooters inside the paint and everything.
Even Caitlin Clark couldn't stay seated. She leapt off the bench, cheering like she was on the court herself. Despite wearing street clothes due to a groin injury, her competitive fire blazed bright. She was animated, jumping up after McDonald's game-sealing three. Her joy said it all. Her teammates didn't just survive without her, they thrived. That shot didn't just secure the win. It clinched the season series tiebreaker over Las Vegas, a crucial edge in playoff seeding. The Fever now lead the Aces, 2-1 in head-to-head matchups. That advantage could make all the difference in the postseason. This wasn't just a random regular season, it was a defining moment. Indiana showed they're not just Clark dependent. This team is built for deeper runs. They sent a message that echoed throughout the league. With Mitchell leading, Cunningham catching fire, and a team-first identity built on defense, they've crafted something bigger than any one star. The Fever now sit at 3rd into 12, good for 6th in the WNBA standings. And with the tiebreaker over the reigning champs in their pocket, they've put the league on notice. When Clark returns fully healthy, she'll be rejoining a squad that's already shown they can beat anyone, anywhere, Anytime. The future is blazing in Indiana. Comment Red Hot Sophie if you're hyped. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a moment. Click the video on screen. We'll see you next time. Asterisk.